Are your kitchen and bathroom way overdue for a remodel? Well, I got the guy for you. Call John Sellers at First Response Contracting, 484-256-7136. Both residential and commercial services, and he's licensed and insured. Call him at 484-256-7136. First Response Contracting. Hello, this is Brad Weisman. You're listening to Real Estate and You. We're back in the studio. We are here to get rid of all the doom and gloom you're hearing in the media. We are here to make sure you know that everything's okay. Yeah, rates are up a little bit. No big deal. They're going to come back down. Everything will be okay. The sky is not falling. I can tell you that right now. And Pete feels exactly the same way I do. Pete Heim is in the studio here. We're here with Pete's Point of View. And the title of this show is Unpack the Housing Market. The Sky is Not Falling.
Ooh, I like that title.
You like that?
Yeah.
You like how I put pack in with housing and all that?
Perfect.
Yeah, so that was the title for the show. Yeah. I figured I'd start giving a title to the show because then it makes sense of what we're going to try to accomplish, right?
Yeah, sure.
What do you think, Hugo? Right off the bat, we're going to say congratulations to Hugo. He is now an American citizen. And he's not only the producer, but he's become a friend, and I'm very proud of him. And I think it's an awesome accomplishment, and it's great, man.
That's
and he's
awesome,
now eating a lot more at McDonald's, you said,
McDonald's,
right?
you said, right? The American way.
Yeah,
sure.
Real.
And they're not even a sponsor. They're not even a sponsor.
Really.
Unbelievable.
You have to talk to them.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so let's jump right into the interest rate thing. Obviously, rates went up to like 6.25% like last week or 2 weeks ago, whatever it was. They are down. We just checked 5.65 for a 30-year.
Yep.
But you have some graphs and some things that we want to kind of study and dig into about the rates and how they correlate with recession. How are they correlating with property values and things like that? So tell me, what's the first one? We have some slides here. So if you're listening to the podcast, I'll try to explain what the slides say. But if you're watching it on YouTube or Facebook or Twitter or any of the places that we're at, this is be great. You can see the graphs. Okay, so go ahead.
Well, these are the questions we're getting, right, Brad?
Yeah, these are the questions.
What's happening with the mortgage?
If you're not, it's information to share.
That's it. Yeah, please share it, because this is not This is not doom and gloom.
No,
like you said, this is not it. We
Absolutely
are
not.
coming back to pre-pandemic levels, and it was really good then.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with this.
The thing that just happened in the last 2 years was an anomaly.
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely.
But so the big questions we're getting is what's happening with mortgage rates, right?
Yep.
What will happen to real estate if we get into a recession?
Yep.
Right.
Which I think we already are in one.
I think we are in one.
Yep.
Yeah. So, but real estate, just so you know, is still going.
Yep.
What's going to happen this year in real estate? And should I buy a house right now? Those are the four big ones.
I can
should
answer
I wait?
the last one easy.
Well, that's an
buy
easy
a house
one.
right
That's
now.
easy. Yeah, that's a yes. But
buy a house right now.
But those are the big things. Those are the big ones. So let's talk about it. So let's get
Sounds
into inflation versus interest rates, and what inflation's at 8.6. Last
one's
I
interesting.
checked, might have been 8.7 now. I don't know. It's going up.
Hovering right in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you, Hugo. This is the graphic. Okay, so what I did was I pulled the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics Federal Reserve did over the last 50 years. So, Brad, we were talking about trends,
right,
and trying to predict right now, and it's unpredictable.
It is unpredictable because here's the thing: when you predict, Pete, you look at certain different things that have to do with your prediction.
Right.
As soon as one of those things goes off on a tangent somewhere that we didn't think it was going to go, it then changes the prediction.
Everything changed.
Everything changes. Yeah. I mean, and what happened is, we were talking earlier before we got on here, is that when they made the predictions, the rates were supposed to only go to 3.75 or 4% by the end of 2022.
Yep.
Right?
How'd we do?
We went flying past that. It was pretty much like the space shuttle went right past the. Now I'm dating myself because I'm talking about space shuttle. We'll say SpaceX. SpaceX went zooming past the 3.754%, and it was looking back at it like it was the moon in the rearview mirror.
Yep.
And it's now at 6. It was at 6.25. So that number changes everything. Prediction.
It does.
Changes everything.
Yeah.
So with
what
was the inflation thing? So going back to that,
this was interesting because I was talking to my coach Anthony, and he has an economist / client in New Hampshire. We looked at this graph. If you look at this graph right now, and then the people on the podcast don't know what it is, but it's a study of the last 50 years of the inflation rate versus interest rates.
Gotcha.
The green is inflation.
Got it.
The yellow is interest. Okay. And look, and it showed you when the 1973 oil crisis hit. Look how they're together.
Yeah.
Interest rates hit 20% in the mid 80s, right?
Yeah. So what you can't see on the podcast is that every time inflation went up, the rate went up.
Yep.
Correct.
Yep. So now I'm going to boil it down to this.
Okay.
Inflation's at 8.7. Interest rate is at 5.65 today.
Gotcha. Yep.
What's that meaning? That interest rates is going to go up.
Yeah.
It's going to grab the inflation rate.
Yep.
It's going to try to settle it down. The Fed has done this over the last 50 years.
Wow.
It doesn't matter what's going on in the world.
Yep.
That's what's going to happen.
Yep.
So to answer the buying question, yeah, the rate's going to go up.
Yeah.
They have to.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because that's what they've done
Yeah.
over the last 50 years. So let's talk. We're not talking predictions here. We're talking history.
Yeah.
These are historic.
Now, once again, if one of those things changes,
it won't happen.
It can affect what we're saying.
It'll happen worse.
So you
or
can't
happen
say
different.
it's fake news from us then.
It's not fake.
It's not fake.
Thank you for that disclaimer.
That's right, darn it. We know what we're talking about here. Come on. We're both in business way over 30 years now. I think I'm 30 years and what's the date today? I'm 30 years and 7 days into the business.
Beautiful.
There we go. It's the 7 days that really matter.
I know.
The rest of it
You
doesn't
learned a
matter.
lot the last 7 days.
I did. Absolutely. Yes, exactly. So what else you got for me interest rate wise?
So that's what it is with inflation.
Okay. So
And then we have inflation versus home price appreciation. What happens there? So graphic home ownership, a hedge against inflation.
Right.
Historically, owning a home has always hedged against inflation.
interesting.
There's no better hedge. Okay, if you look at this graph, 1970s, inflation was at 7.1.
Yeah.
Appreciation was 9.9.
Wow.
The only time it was there was 2 years that was less. 1980s was 5.6 and 5.5. 2000s it was 2.6 and 2.3. 2021 it was at 6.8 inflation and 18% home price appreciation.
Wow. That's good.
So what's that tell you? If home price appreciation usually
Yeah.
is well over inflation rates.
Gotcha.
So that's why it's a good hedge.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So you still have a good protection of investment.
It's a protector. It's a
Yeah,
protector.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So buy more real estate.
Yeah, exactly.
So what will happen to real estate if we go into a recession? So the next one is a recession versus home price appreciation. Out of the last 6 recessions, 1980, 1981, 1991, 2001, 2008, and 2020, 4 out of 6 home prices went up.
Interesting.
And the highest one that went up was 2001 at 6.6%.
And you know what happens too? During the recession, Pete, doesn't the stock market usually take a dump?
Yeah, it does. Normally it does.
Yeah, it usually takes a dump. And during high times of inflation, it usually it'll end up getting to the point where it corrects itself and then we lose money in the market.
Exactly.
I think we lost, if I'm not correct, I just heard in the radio something like that. Like there was like $2 trillion lost this year so far in the market.
Yeah.
That's just amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, think about that kind of money. So it's just interesting.
That didn't happen in real estate.
No, it did not. No, it did
if
not.
you could bring that back up. I mean, the big one was 19.7% drop in 08. But again, remember, people, 08 was a lending crisis.
Yes,
it wasn't necessarily a housing crisis. It affected the housing.
It was an integrity crisis.
It was an integrity crisis. Yes.
Totally integrity
Thank you.
crisis. Yeah.
That's it.
There was a lot of lying going on.
There was a lot of lying going on.
Yeah.
So
sinning everywhere.
Lots of sin, you sinners.
That's why it's in red. That's why.
That's right. Exactly. So that's that graph.
No, that's cool. And it is really interesting to see how all this stuff, when you look at the graphs and you look at history, it all makes sense.
It all makes sense.
It all starts to make sense.
It's history, dude.
Yeah,
it's all documented.
Yep.
So
absolutely.
let's go to mortgage rates versus recessions. That would have been the last one.
Mortgage rates versus recessions.
Yeah,
Okay, so where did the mortgage rates go during a recession? Is what you're saying?
1980.
Yeah.
Right. It was a 6-month recession. Rates went down from 16% to 11.8.
Amazing.
Okay. 81, 82, one year, 4 months, 18 to 13.
Yeah.
They must have jumped back up again really fast back then.
It's fun. I saw that graph earlier today that it went from 11.8% in 1980 to 1981 being back up to 18%.
I forget that was
a weird time.
We weren't quite in real estate yet.
No,
I was in college.
No, I was 11.
Okay. Oh, shut up.
Sorry, Pete's a little older than me.
Stop laughing, Hugo. That's not funny. But then you got the 90s, 8 months from 11 to 8.8.
Yep.
The early 2000 recession, 8 months of it, 7.4 to 6.8.
You know what I noticed too, Pete, over time when I was looking at this graph was pretty interesting is that it kept going down over time, except for the first two.
Right.
It went from the 13% to 11% to 8%, 7.4 to 6.
Yeah,
6% to 4.9, 3.8 to 2. So really, there was nowhere for us to go except for up.
Exactly. That's the anomaly.
Seriously, where's it going to go?
That's your anomaly.
You can't go to zero.
No, you're really saying something here. Okay, so from the early 90s, right? It did nothing but go down. From the early 2000s, look at inflation going, wow, it looks like a heartbeat.
Yeah, exactly.
And like in 2010 there. But look what interest did.
It kind of,
It leveled it out. So next thing is the inventory forecast.
This is really cool.
This is good.
It's good.
This is good.
Yeah.
Because the forecast, if you remember back in January, I think it was probably late last year, I guess. They were predicting the inventory to go up 0.3%. And now they just rechanged it to...
Which is basically
15.
nothing.
Yeah, nothing.
0.3 means pretty much you're
zero.
flatlining. Yeah, exactly.
Well, 15% is what they're saying now. So that's good.
It's awesome.
That's great.
That's wonderful.
We can house that.
We can, and we need it. We need it. So basically, when this is what I was saying, is that when you change any one of those things, when you change any one of the things that you're using to predict something, the prediction outcome changes.
Exactly.
Obviously. It's just the way it is. It's kind of like, if you're charting a path on a boat and it's supposed to be smooth sailing and the wind's supposed to be at your back and helping you go, and all of a sudden the weather changes. And now you have wind at the front of you and the waves start coming in. Guess what? The time to get to where you're going is going to change because your variables changed, right? Yeah, your variables changed. So it is funny how that happens. And you got to weather the storm.
You weather it.
Right? You got to weather this.
And the same goes with affordability.
Yeah.
The three things: interest rates, home prices, and the percentage of income that you use to afford the house.
Yeah.
Most people's incomes are still there.
Yes,
they're still okay. However, both rates and now rates, because last year it was just prices. Now we got rates and prices.
So now you have two things. Yeah. So you know what I think is funny? Have you seen price decreases?
Yes.
Have you seen that? It's pretty wild.
There's certain areas
you're starting to see, and even in Wilson schools.
Yep.
I'm seeing some of the ones now. I think the ones that are getting the price changes are the ones that came in really high, thinking that they're going to just really capitalize on this market. But I hate to tell them they're a little late.
They're a little late.
Yeah, a little late to the game. So, but you're going to see adjustments. That's just the way it is. And what I keep telling my sellers now when I go into houses to talk about listing their property is what we have to be very aware of right now. And as realtors, to educate our sellers at this is recognizing when you're at the top. Okay. And being able to see that there's a bottom.
Yeah.
And then not chasing to get to the bottom. You want to stay ahead of that. So I explained it yesterday like a roller coaster. If you're up at the top and you're in the front seat, you see the bottom of the hill first before the guy all the way in the back.
Yep.
The guy all the way back, he's going to lose out because he can't see what's coming up.
He's not listening.
He's like looking. So, as a realtor and as a seller, make sure you're at the front of the roller coaster.
Yeah.
And don't be afraid. Look down. Look and see what's there, but don't chase it.
Yeah.
Because I'll tell you, one of the worst things you can do is go, all right, we'll go down 5,000.
Right.
Oh, shoot. The one yesterday just sold for 10,000 less. Yeah. We'll go down another 10,000. Well, now you're already behind the 8 ball.
You're behind it.
So, I'm not saying we're there completely yet.
Right.
But we need to start looking at that and preparing for that, preparing sellers for that.
I had my first listing reduction in price.
Crazy, right? 2 years?
2 years probably. I'm guessing.
Maybe even more.
Look, it might be more.
Yeah.
I don't know. No,
amazing, right?
It's crazy.
Yeah. We're going to have to dust off the reply to inspections maybe at some point too. You know what I mean?
Back to your annual listing contracts again.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, before we're like, what do you need? 2 weeks?
2 weeks? No problem.
I think that's good. We're good.
Hey, did you look at the expireds? But
I did not look at them recently, but
some of them expired 17 days. 20 days. I just thought it was kind of funny.
That is kind of funny. That is kind of funny. Yeah. You're setting yourself up for a failure right there. That's crazy.
It was funny.
So I think we talked about pretty much everything we wanted to talk about, right? Or do you have one more thing?
Just real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
About prices.
Yeah.
This year so far, the average, this is June to June.
Okay.
The average sold price in Berks County without the city included in the city was $282,300.
Oh, wow.
No city, it was $310 and change.
That's high.
Yeah. That's average sold price.
That's high for Berks.
And last year it was $260 and $286.
Wow, that's really high. I'm surprised it's that high, actually.
Yeah, me too.
I'm surprised it's high. Did you see today I posted? We were back up over 400 listings again. It was at 402.
That. Well, yeah, it's funny. You posted that 402?
Yes.
I did this analysis yesterday morning, and it was at 395.
It was. I checked it yesterday, too. Yeah. That's good. Inventory's coming up.
Yeah.
See, things are going to be okay, Hugo.
Yeah. It's all gonna
just
be
in
okay.
time to become a citizen. Things are going to be okay.
Yeah, baby.
That's amazing. All right. Thanks a lot, Peter.
Thanks,
Appreciate
brother.
you coming in,
Good being
buddy.
with you, man.
Yeah, good to be here. There you go. That was definitely proof that the sky is not falling. We have unpacked the housing market once again, and everything's good. We're all good. You can go out and buy a house. You can go out and do the things you need to do. Go have dinner. Go eat at McDonald's, Hugo. It's all going to be good. We're all fine. That's right. All right. We'll talk to you next week. Are your kitchen and bathroom remodels a little overdue? Well, now's your chance to call First Response Contracting. John Sellers will take care of you. 484-256-7136. They do residential and commercial, and they're licensed and insured. Give them a call at 484-256-7136.